Hey folks, in today's video I'm going to share with you 7 fundamentals for songwriting. My name's Chris, and if you're looking to improve your songwriting or get started, this video is for you. Number 1, record your ideas as soon as possible. Okay, so this is really important because don't assume that you'll remember your ideas for long. Even if it gets stuck in your head, even if you're singing a melody or playing a riff on the guitar that you think is going to stay with you, there's a good chance you'll lose it as soon as you go to sleep or listen to the radio or whatever. So fortunately these days we have iPhones and whatnot, so that has served me very well over the years. So I'm sure it can do the same for you. Start creating your collection of iPhone voice recordings. So yeah, there's usually an app called Voice Memo or Voice Recorder on your smartphone, or something along those lines. And if there's not, you can download one and yeah, use your smartphone. It's a very handy tool for recording your ideas. And don't wait for the idea to be perfect, just get it down as soon as you can, particularly if it's something that's really inspiring you and exciting you. Just, yeah, get it down. Number 2, name your ideas and songs as soon as possible. And this kind of relates to number 1. One thing that happened to me is I had hundreds of ideas recorded on my smartphone, and you know, it's not easy to find time to go through hundreds of ideas, but when you can see that they're labeled appropriately and they're given names, it suddenly jogs my memory as to what it is. I don't have to spend hours listening to my collection of ideas. So I'm able to really kind of be drawn back into the idea very quickly just from looking at the name. And I think the name just by taking that opportunity to try and name the song or the idea as soon as possible, it gives you a bit of insight as to what it's about, and something you don't have to overthink. You can always come up with a different name later, but start with a working title. So I think that's a really good tip, so that you don't just get lost in a sea of ideas that go nowhere, that you actually have some direction with your ideas, and then they have a better chance of actually moving forward and becoming songs, and you'll keep track of them more easily, and yeah, they've got a better chance at actually making it into a finished product. Okay guys, this is songwriting tip number 3, which is learn and study your favorite songs. So what songs are really speaking to you? What songs do you keep coming back to? Do you enjoy singing or playing on your instrument? You know, this may seem obvious, but a lot of people overlook it. So one thing you can do is make a playlist. We have all these streaming apps like Spotify, Apple Music these days. Find a way to create a playlist so it's easily accessible, and really just absorb yourself into those songs that you really love. Like, pick apart why you like them. Maybe there's a chord progression in there that really sounds nice to you, or maybe there's some really powerful lyrics that resonate with you. Maybe there's a melody that, you know, gets stuck in your head and is really catchy or moving to you. So whatever it is, like, you don't have to even learn the whole song, but just hone in on what's really speaking to you and what's really speaking to you at the moment, because I think that will sort of give you some clues as to what's going to be powerful for you when you write a song and you write your ideas. I think tuning into what songs are speaking to you currently, and they could be songs that you're just starting to listen to, or they could be songs that you're very familiar with, but you know, you still really love. Either way, yeah, listening to that sort of music that you really love definitely brings you into a place of connection where you're more likely to tune in to the good stuff as far as your own ideas go. So yeah, really take the time to make that playlist and start listening, and really follow where you're being called. Like, whatever song is speaking to you at the moment, really tune in with that and see what you can learn and see what you can bring into your own songwriting. Songwriting tip number 4, start with your strengths. So if you are a guitar player, if you're a singer, you know, something like melody might be a strength of yours. If you're a drummer or a guitar player, you know, rhythm could be a strength. But start with something that is very comfortable for you, because I think starting from something that comes naturally is a way to build confidence when you're building up your song or just creating ideas. So myself personally, I'm a guitar player and a singer, and melody is something that is probably my strength if I had to choose one. Melody is something that I think I've created a lot of melodies over the years, both on guitar and also singing. And yeah, that really kind of gives me confidence when I've got something I like that's in my sort of skill set, in my strength, the skills that I'm strongest at. Yeah, it can really give me some momentum and give me a starting point. So really hone in on what your strength is, and I think that will give you a really good starting point. Number 5, finish one song. So it's easy to get carried away creating dozens and dozens of ideas. I know I've done it myself, and not actually finish anything. I know I've done it myself. But it's very satisfying when you finish that first song. And I actually remember creating so many riffs and so many chord progressions on guitar years ago when I was starting out. And it would frustrate me because I'm like, well, what does all this mean? You know, it all just kind of builds in this, collects dust. And I remember when I finished my first song and I had words and I had something to sing, it was a really big, important moment for me. And it actually made it onto my first album. So that particular song was called Hanging, and it was about sort of being stuck in a rut and just hanging on. And which is kind of how I felt about a lot of things, songwriting in particular. And yeah, it was a breakthrough for me. So I really encourage you to stick at it and work towards your breakthrough of one song. And it may be something that you're really proud of, or it may just be okay. It doesn't really matter as long as you finish a song and it's sort of, you know, you can play and sing it from start to finish, or one of the other, or both. Just work towards that first goal, because it will really start to instill some stronger beliefs in you that you can do this, and that, you know, that this, if you can do one, you can create more, but really focus on getting that first one finished. Songwriting tip number 6, tune into your inspiration and intuition. So they're both really kind of buzzwords at the moment, probably. But, you know, to be honest, they've been around since the dawn of time, whether you talk about them much or not. So inspiration, I mean, I'm sure there's many different definitions, but inspiration is something that comes to me from maybe some unknown source, something that just seems to arrive in me and almost like a spark. And I think it's, you know, it's sort of no one else can really tell you when you're inspired or when you're not, but you'll sort of know when something's really speaking to you. And I think follow that thread, and it can actually be a way of sort of getting out of the analysis that can trap, you know, paralysis analysis. That kind of tripped me up saying that. So it can kind of keep you from being in that by just tuning into inspiration, because it may not always make complete sense what is coming to you, but follow it, because there's usually a joy associated with it, a feeling of excitement or joy. So really follow that joy and excitement, and or just a feeling of rightness, like you don't even have to know why it feels right, but following that that feeling or that thought pattern that is leading you somewhere that feels right. Because that can be very powerful, and a really good way to spring you into action with your songwriting. And also, usually shows up when you're creating your best work. So if you do get a sense of it, follow it. The other thing is I mentioned is intuition, and to me that is listening from within, listening to the body in particular, listening to feelings. So again, that can get you out of paralysis analysis, because you're coming down into your body and you're feeling the sensations. And for example, you might write something and your heart might start racing a bit more, or you might start sweating, or you might start jumping up and down because you're happy that you wrote it. I mean, all those things, that intuitive sort of response, that sort of guides you, and it can tell you when to pick up the pen, it can tell you when to pick up the guitar, it can tell you when to record something. So you're going to feel, things happening in your gut or in your heart. So really tune into wherever the feelings are in your body, and really go with where it feels like your body is calling you towards. So that's songwriting tip number 6. Okay, guys, final tip, the final fundamental of songwriting, number 7. Of course, this is by no means a exhaustive or definitive list, but this should get you going. So number 7 is progress and persistence beats perfection. Okay, so this really ties in with what I said about finishing one song. It ties in with the idea to not sort of critique your work too early, just sort of let the ideas flow, brainstorm. It also, I think, progress. I mean, you can see once you finish a song, there's one song done, and even if your ideas start to become more extensive, that's progress. And it's all, as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, so don't expect yourself to become, John Lennon in one day. So you need to write a lot of stuff to really, start to get some confidence and start to see some results. And it's better to have a few things you can do that, that may not be amazing, but they've been, you can see the progress, rather than sort of get stuck looking for some perfect song or idea or lyric. Or you can always come back and refine things later. So really just try and get a basic skeleton idea of the song, and try and follow, again, listen to your inspiration and your intuition, and follow, whether it's the lyrics that you think, you've got the energy or the juice to really work on, or maybe the music, maybe the guitar parts, or the singing, maybe finding the melody that feels good to sing. So remember, just keep chipping away, keep recording your ideas, and it's a bit of a journey becoming a songwriter and sticking at it, and you will have breakthroughs if you stick at it. So keep following that path of inspiration, intuition, and just know that even the great songwriters had to go through a lot before they wound up with some great songs. So stick at it, enjoy, and I appreciate you tuning into my video. I hope you've got a lot out of this session, or even one or two things just to get you moving forward with your songwriting. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. I'm Chris, and happy songwriting.